Hello guys, welcome back to another video, and today we are going to be doing something a little bit different than we usually do. So today we are going to be doing some JavaScript, which I've never done on this channel before, but I think it's kind of good to know a ton of different languages, because then you are introduced to more things and there are more possibilities. So today we're going to be doing a simple dot connector. Well, not very simple to people who are just beginning with JavaScript, but it's not too hard. But yeah, let's get right into it. So I'm going to be using p5.js, and you get there by just typing in p5.js on your browser or whatever you're doing, and then just go down to the one that says editor, and you're instantly in. And I'm already into an account, but if you don't have an account, you can just click the login thing and sign in, and then you can create an account. So the first thing that we're going to do is, well, you should name your project, because, well, you're actually probably going to use this, but I already have a project, so basically I have a backup, so I don't need to name it because this is just for you guys. And the code will be in the description of this video, so you can get everything there. Okay, so the first thing that we should do is set up the variables. So how you do a variable in JavaScript is doing var or let. If the difference between var and let is like a local variable, and you can't like use it everywhere, and var is like a not local variable, so you can use it everywhere. You could also do const, because we're not going to be setting this stuff in code, and const is basically just variable, just you can't set it inside the code, so, or like when the game is running. So I'm just going to use var because we might want to do that like in the future. But yeah. Sorry, my dog was at my door. Okay, so now the first variable is going to be the dot amount, and that's just the amount of dots that we want. I'm just going to set it to 150. Oh, also, these values that I'm going to be setting are just pretty much preference, except some of these where you actually have to do exactly what I do. So you can name these whatever you want, but another variable that we need is dot pauses, which is basically just dot positions, and it is going to be a list or an array. You can call them either one, and then var dot speeds, so like which direction they're going, just to make some diversity, and then dot colors. This one's optional, but I just think it makes it look a lot better. Okay, so the last thing that we're gonna need is the dot. I guess we can put it with them. Var dot color mode, and we're gonna be doing this at the end. I'm just gonna set this to none for now, and now we can actually start. So I am going to set this to the with like I don't know how to say this. I divided it by 1.5. I divided my computer screen width by 1.5. So yeah, so it's just 100. Mine is 128, and it is 693, and then 0.3 repeating. So I just put like a ton of zeros because I want to make it pretty much like my computer. So now we can set up everything. So the first thing is I'm going to say var let I equals 0, I less than dot amount, I plus plus. And this is just a simple for loop that's saying create a variable named I, and every time you run this, make I go up by 1, and then run this until I is basically equal to dot amount, because we set I equal to 0 at the start, so it's basically running dot amount of times, so 150 times. Okay, so now that we have that done, we can say dot pauses dot push, and dot push basically just adds this variable to the end of the list. So it'll just add a new variable to the end of dot pauses, and this is just going to be random. And p5.js has built-in functions that won't actually work in real JavaScript, or not real JavaScript because this is real JavaScript, but like in just normal JavaScript programs. So that's why I really like p5.js. But in here we're just gonna say 0 and width, because it's gonna get a random value between 0 and the width, which is for me is 1280. And we'll do the same thing over here. We'll say random, and then we'll get wait, why'd I do this? What'd I do? Okay, so now we'll get a random value between 0 and height, and that is this one done. So basically it is creating a variable that is a random position between, like, on the canvas basically. And I am gonna scale this over here to make room for my whole thing. I'm probably gonna, you know what, I'll scale this over here for code purposes, but once we're like testing it, I'm gonna scale it back. Okay, so with this done, we can create another for loop. It's basically gonna be exactly the same like this, except we're gonna change the stuff inside of it. So var, or let I equals 0, I less than dot amount I plus plus, and then we're gonna say dot speeds dot push, and then we're going to basically do the exact same thing that we did here. So actually I am just going to copy this and paste it here, and instead of doing these values, we're going to do negative 0.3 to 0.3, and then we're going to do this exact same thing here, negative 0.3 to 0.3. And I was testing this out before this, so I'd say this is probably the best values for speeds, but this is all just preference for me. So now we're going to do the exact same thing again, and yeah, so here what we're doing is what we're going to do in this is we're going to set the colors. So we're going to say dot colors dot push push random, and then we'll get a random value between 0 and 250. Okay, and then we'll do that 3 times, so there's 3 randoms, so that'll just get a random color. And now we can actually go into the update function. So the setup, I didn't explain this well. So the setup, or I didn't explain it at all. So the setup is basically when the game starts, and draw is every frame. So what's inside of draw will happen every single frame. So I am going to start now. I'm just going to name this dot stuff, because this is the dot stuff. And we're going to say for let I equals 0, I less than dot amount I plus plus. And now this is going to set up all the circles and stuff. So I'm gonna say I'm just gonna create the circle actually. So dot pauses I 0 and dot pauses I dot pauses I 1. So this is just setting the position because it's getting the I position, so that is just the current circle that we're on's I position. Why did I say I position? It's just its position. And then I'd say 15 is a good radius. And 15 is just the radius of the circle. So now we can say dot pauses 1 or I 0 plus equals dot speeds I 0, and we can copy this because we're going to do the exact same thing for its Y position. So 0 is just its X position and 1 is its Y position. So now we're going to say if dot pauses I 0 less than width minus 15 divided by 2. And what this is doing is basically saying because if this is where the circle is, so let's say this is a circle, right? This is a circle. So the top right corner would be its actual position. So that's why we have to do the minus 15 divided by 2 because we need to get the center point. Okay? Okay. So this is the where is it? It's right here. Okay, this is the or, and we're gonna say or dot pauses I 0 is less than 15 divided by 2. So if it's what's it? Why am I losing my train of thought? Like I'm doing this and then I'm forgetting what I'm doing. What the heck? What is wrong with me? Well, I can't remember why this works. I just remember that it works. Wait, why do I have this? This doesn't do anything. If dot positions X is less than what? What? Dot pauses I is less than width minus. Yeah. Oh, okay, never mind. Now I remember. Okay, so this first thing is checking if it's all the way on this side. So like, let's pretend this is our game window. So this thing right here is checking if it's hitting right here, and then this thing right here is checking if it's hitting right here. And that works because right here is 0, 0. This point right in the top right is 0, 0. So that's why that works. And then we're going to say dot speeds I 0 equals negative dot speeds I 0. And then we can do the same thing. So we're just going to copy this, paste it, except with 1 and height. Okay. And 1, 1, 1. Okay. So that works. And if we test this out, right now. Oh, what error? I is not defined. What? Oh my gosh. Okay. We need to put this in the for loop. What is happening with me today? Okay. So we need to put this inside of the for loop that we made. Inside of the for loop that had circle in it. Then since I did that, it all glitched out, so I just it was like this. So I just like selected everything that was tabbed down, and I just clicked tab. Okay. So now we can see if this works, and that works perfectly fine. Oh, another thing, I am going to set this to 0, and that's just going to set it to the background to black. That looks good. Yeah, it looks really good. So now that we have this, we can actually do the line stuff. Yes, I know. I'm great at making names. Line stuff. Okay, so we can say for let I equals 0, I less than dot amount I plus plus. Oop. I mean, that works, but like I just want it to make it look good. And we're gonna say for let O, because we can't use I again, equals 0. O is less than dot amount O plus plus. Why do I keep putting a space there? Okay. So we can say let D, because this is going to be the distance. And I'll explain this after I do it. And it'll be dist, and this is just getting the distance between 2 points. Dot pauses I 0, and then dot pauses I 1, and then dot pauses O 0, and then dot pauses O 1. Okay, so what this does is it gets the distance between so what this for loop does is it loops through everything, or all the dots. So it says, okay, so let's check if the dot I is close to any other dot. So it'll say, it'll go through every single one of these. That's why it has the for loop inside of the for loop. So this for loop will go through all of these, like all of the dots, and it'll check if it has if it is close to it. So we're gonna say if D is less than or equal to 50. This is just my personal preference. I just think 50 is a good number. And then we're gonna say let A is equal to lerp 0 to 50, and then 50 minus D. And then we're gonna say stroke 255, 255, 255, and then A. So this is gonna make a white stroke that has an alpha value of A. And we're gonna make a line, and we're gonna call it dot pauses, and then we're gonna do I 0, and then dot pauses. Wait, I can just use this. Yes, I can. So I can just copy that and then paste it in here. And then what this is it's creating a white line. This is creating a white line from from I to O, so if it's close, and this is basically lerping a value between 0 and 50, and this is how far it is to, or how close it is to finishing. It's just 50 minus D. And then the stroke, why we put A, is basically how transparent it is. So alpha just means transparency, basically. And now we can test that out. Hey, that actually worked first try. Look at it, it looks really cool. I could probably stare at this for hours and not get bored. Like, I'm not even joking, I could probably stare at this for hours and not get bored. Looking at these cool shapes that they make, like these really long things like that. And that almost looked 3D. But yeah, I could just stare at this for like hours. But we still have a little bit more to do. And this is the dot color mode. So how we're going to do the dot color mode is by saying, or before we do like make this circle, like in here, we're going to say if dot color mode equals, I guess we can start with fill, because it'll create the color. It'll make the full circle the random color. And we can set the stroke to 0, 0, 0, and then another 0 to set the alpha. And then fill dot colors I0. And I'm just going to copy this. And then this is going to be 1, and this is going to be 2. And now we can do the same thing, but for outline. And outline is basically the border of the circle. And to do this, we're just going to fill this 255, 255, 255. And then the stroke is going to be, this stroke is going to be this. Oh, I forgot to put a semicolon after that. And that. Okay. Oh. Okay. So that is good. Now we just need to do the none. And to do that, I am going to say set the stroke to 255, 255, 255, and then the fill to 255, 255, 255. And then, oh, I didn't set that. So this is the none. So this should look exactly the same. Okay. Okay. So this looks exactly the same as how it did before, because it's just none. But if we set it to like fill for like or something, it'll do this. So that looks pretty cool. And we can also do outline, which has just a little bit of a border to the circle. Okay, so this is what I think. So I'd say fill is when you just want to watch it for like hours. None is when you just want to look at what different patterns it can make. And then I'd say outline is if you just want to like have something really soothing to watch. Okay, so that'll be it for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.